Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Back to the Cardboard. And I'm going to put out a special challenge to everybody out there to share their favorite all-time greatest team. Of course, my team is the Cincinnati Reds, and I've picked a player from each position that I deem worthy as being the greatest to play at that position for the Reds. So hope you guys will follow and play along. I was inspired by Mr. John Mangini when he shared his Pirates, and thought I would go ahead and share the greatest Cincinnati Reds to ever play by position. So let's take a look. All right, what we're looking at here is the greatest Reds team ever assembled, in my personal opinion. I know you guys will disagree with me, and that's okay, but this is just my opinion at these different positions. So before we get started and I reveal what's behind each card, let's get started with some honorable mentions. I'm going to have to handhold this, so I apologize for any shakiness. Right off the bat, a couple pitchers I want to give honorable mention to. Mr. Tom Seaver. It wouldn't be a Reds team if didn't see that. Somewhat of an obscure pitcher you guys may not have heard of. If you watched my video one or two ago, you would know this guy, Adolph Luque, Cuban-born pitcher for the Reds. Give him an honorable mention. Thank you, Mr. Mangini. And then I didn't include relievers. You can if you want. You got to talk about this guy, Mr. Aroldis Chapman. Probably go down as one of the best relievers of all time, closing pitchers. Got to include him. And I know this is going to be a shock to you guys that he didn't make the cut, but this man right here, Mr. Ken Griffey Jr., he did not make the cut. So now, who do you think's in that outfield besides Junior? Well, let's get started. Right off the bat, we're going to reveal the manager I chose to manage my Reds Hall of Fame team. You guessed it, Mr. Sparky Anderson. Took the Reds to World Series and won it in 75 and 76. Very good manager. Also won the World Series with Tigers in 84. And then we'll just kind of start around the horn here. We'll start off with the pitcher. Who is the Reds' all-time greatest pitcher? Boom. You guessed it. Mr. Ep69. You've seen a couple of videos ago of me talking about him and Adolfo Luque. Voted in 69 as the Reds' all-time best pitcher. Mr. Ep69. And we'll drop down to catcher. Is this even in question? Ernie Lombardi was a good catcher. And the Reds have had some great catchers over the years, but none better than this guy right here, Johnny Bench. The greatest catcher of all time, just happened to play for the Cincinnati Reds. My opinion, of course. Now moving on to first base. Who do you think's there? Well, in my opinion, the best first baseman ever to play for the Reds, Ted Kluszewski. Big power hitter that you expect for your first baseman. Had some great years for the Reds. Not the greatest player to ever play first base, no, by no means. But the greatest Reds first baseman, in my opinion. Now, I know you could put some other guys in there, Tony Perez, Pete Rose, some other guys. But to make room for them elsewhere, Mr. Kluszewski, probably the greatest first baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. Moving on to second base, Who do you think there? Another part of the Big Red Machine, in my opinion. That's right, Mr. Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer. Not the best second baseman ever to play. Been some great ones, but in my opinion, this is the best second baseman to ever play for the Reds. Big part of the Big Red Machine right there. Moving on to shortstop. And pretty easy, in my opinion, to choose this one. There have been some great shortstops, but none better than this man right here, Mr. Barry Larkin. I watched this guy play several times. Really one of the greats of the game, one of the greatest shortstops ever to play the game. Played for the Reds, Mr. Barry Larkin. Moving on to third base. First base, this guy played first base quite a bit, but he also played third. And it's this man right here, Mr. Tony Perez. Greatest third baseman to ever play for the Reds, in my opinion. Also another part of the Big Red Machine. So far we've got, in the infield, we've got 3 members of the Big Red Machine in the infield. Pretty amazing, that team, no doubt. Well, then you count Mr. Anderson, that's 4. All right, moving on to right field. Now, no certain order here. I tried to match the outfielders up to where they primarily played. But, oh well, outfield is outfield. Just pick 3 outfielders. That's all I'm going to ask. Check it out. No doubt, Mr. Frank Robinson, outfielder. See some of his stats there for the Reds. Just an all-around player. Hit for power, speed, average. He had it all. Mr. Frank Robinson, my right field. Center field. Who do you think? Oh, this is be a tough one. Boom. Mr. Vada Pinson. Played on that 58 team. 59-60 with Robinson. Once again, he was a 5-tool guy. Hit for average, power, speed. See some of his statistics there. 59 tops, beautiful card. And then last but not least, save the best for last possibly. This gentleman here is not in the Hall of Fame, but you guessed it, Mr. Pete Rose. Mr. Charlie Hustle himself. No Cincinnati Reds team would ever be complete without this guy. Played 5 positions, so I could have plugged him in any place I wanted to, really. But set him up in the outfield. So that is my all-time Cincinnati Reds team. You got catcher Johnny Bench. First base, Ted Kluszewski. Second base, Joe Morgan. Shortstop, Barry Larkin. Third base, Tony Perez. Left-handed pitcher, Ep69. In the outfield, we got Robinson, Pinson, and Rose. Bad lighting on Rose. Sorry, Rose. So that's my Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame team. Please let me see yours. Be sure to share and hashtag so we can all check them out. And I want to give credit to Mr. John Mangini for showing his Pirates already. It's kind of gave me the idea. And so y'all stay safe out there. God bless you. God bless America. And peace.